So on this week's midlife conversations, I've got to have the gut genie back, Laura Frontero, because so much to update all of you on, and the conversations her and I have been having behind the scenes. I thought we've got to take this on the podcast because I share little bits of this on Instagram and Facebook. And Laura, as I've been telling you, lots of questions coming in like, well, how do I get a toxin test? Well, how do I get stuff out of my body? Do I have to infrared? Do I have to take supplements? What supplements do you take? All the questions. So I thought, let me have you on here because you've been answering me direct on like voice notes and texts. And I thought, I don't know how to compile this into a podcast. So let's just do one. So thanks for being on here.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And your journey has been extraordinary. It's so incredible to have kind of a first, a front row seat to witness your
Mhm.
transformation and to see how much you've up leveled all aspects of your life as a direct result, and to see the ripple that you're creating for your people, for the people
It's
who follow you.
Thank you. I'm really excited because, as you know, Laura, I paused my Total Body Thrive for quite some time because I was like, what's going on with me? I got to figure this out. Like all the hormone shifts and the injuries. And I was like, I got to figure this out. And I even just wrapping up that launch for this again, it's a brand new version. As you know, I've included now stuff that you teach me. I've included you in as a professor. I included like all these experts that I've learned from because I've learned and evolved. And I'm like, okay, I can't just do this as fat loss anymore. But just for those of you that had not been following along this whole journey, I just want to give like a quick recap, even though you can find past episodes with the Gut Genie with Laura Frontero here. But just the long and short of it is about a year and a half ago, year ago, I was really struggling with some things in my own body. And I was chalking a lot of it up to perimenopause and menopause. I mean, who wouldn't? It's like hot flashes and a little bit of weight gain and tired and foggy headed. But the red flag alert for Laura was I started having a blood sugar issue. And I do have type 2 diabetes in my family. And my doctor had put me on a glucose monitor, a continual glucose monitor. And I could not get my blood sugars under control, no matter how strict I was being. Keto, all the things. I did everything. And I even was told to do metformin. And I was really stressed about this. And you and I, Laura, at the time, we were doing some interviews together on other things. And you said to me, did you know your gut and parasites could cause blood sugar dysregulation? Do you remember that? Do you remember when you first
Yeah.
said that to me?
Yep. Yep.
And I was kind of like, what? You are a
What?
wackadoodle. I was like,
What?
God,
You
I'm like, I'm healthy.
you
My
told me
gut is
exactly.
fine.
I do not have parasites. Like, I do not have a gut problem. I eat healthier
Yeah.
than anybody I know. There's no possible way.
Yeah. So you told me that. And then our friend Sinclair was like, do you know blood sugars could be from parasites? I thought you guys are both wackadoodle. I thought you were wackadoodle. I was like, this is crazy, whatever. But you started getting in my ear a little. I'm like, okay, well, and then it just all these like little coincidences happened. I started learning more about gut. So you got me really peaked on this, and I had a specific test on that you suggested. And just the recap, what did we find on that test? Do you remember like vaguely what we found on that?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, while we're talking here, I'm going to pull it up really quick to make sure
Okay.
that I've got all the details right, because it was like a year
Yeah.
ago. But
Yeah.
the short of the long of it is you had a parasite
I
on
did.
your test. It was a protozoa. And when we started getting you into parasite clearing, you actually expelled worms, which are
I did.
not protozoa. Those are
Three to be
larger.
exact that I saw, like snakes that came out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's a wild thing. So not only did she get me really curious and I did the testing and I learned from her, but I didn't want to go with my doctor's protocol. I went with Laura's because my doctor's protocol was involving a heavy amount of antibiotics. And that to me did not feel good because antibiotics destroy our gut even more. Can you just speak into that a little bit there? Because some people like they right away get told do antibiotics.
Yeah, I mean, we could treat bacteria overgrowth. We could treat parasites with antibiotics. However, using an antibiotic is like dropping a bomb into your body, and it doesn't just go after the good guys, or excuse me, the bad guys like parasites and bad bacteria, but it's going to kill off the good bacteria, the good microbes, the bacteria that's responsible for digesting our food, making our hormones, making our brain neurotransmitters. So when you take antibiotics, it can create a cascade of mental issues like anxiety or panic or depression. It can create hormone imbalances. It
Mhm.
can create difficulty digesting your food and getting the nutrients you need to your cells so that
Mhm.
you can function throughout your day. So Antibiotics have a time and a place. I'm a huge fan when it makes sense, but not for every little thing. Sometimes there's a better way to solve the problem so we don't cause as much destruction and fallout just to get rid of,
Yeah.
some parasites or bacteria.
So, because Laura's spidey senses, and well, actually, not just your spidey senses, your actual knowledge really figured this out with me, I went with her protocol. I love that she was teaching. And before you all send me messages like, what's the products that you use? It's not that simple. Like, she's got a protocol and it has to be custom for your specific situation. Not everyone's like, just take these pills kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I did her protocol, but what was really wild, y'all, is like within 2 weeks, my blood sugar completely regulated. That was crazy, Laura. Like within 2 weeks, my blood sugar regulated.
It was remarkable. And I was so glad because the last thing you want to do is suggest to somebody, hey, I think this is it. And then you go out on a limb and say, all right, I'll try this. And then it's not it. So you really like pray, please let this help her. And please let this be an opening to what else is possible in
Yeah.
her life. Because I was standing for you silently, Natalie. I know we've had discussions way back when
Mhm.
you are a no way, no how to removing
Yeah.
your breast implants ever. And I can remember you told me, okay, I'll do this, but don't ever ask me to remove my breast implants because I'm
I don't
never doing.
remember that.
You literally said that. And I can remember in my, heart, and I just went, okay. And I just agreed
That's
with you
funny.
because I know, when people go down this journey and they start feeling better and they start improving all their mysterious symptoms, like their low energy, like their lack of
Mhm.
concentration, like their skin flares and acne, like their resistant weight gain, like their achy joints. Once you start seeing this improve, you start looking around. What else can I do? What else can I do? This is amazing. I know that it can get even better. Are you serious? It can get even
Yeah.
better. What else can I do? And so I knew, like I knew, that eventually, way down the road, you would probably agree. Maybe I'll get rid of my nail polish. Maybe I'll, but the fact that you actually decided I'm going to get these implants out, like I never thought you
Well,
would, just because you were
okay,
so adamant.
let's back up because some people they don't even know this whole journey. So this is what happened. So I did this whole parasite cleanse, which I never thought those words would come out of my mouth, but I did this. I trusted the process and I did the whole process with Laura. It took 4 weeks to like really do the protocol she designed for me. But I did the protocol. I started feeling amazing. My blood sugar regulated. And I'm like, this is it. I'm on top of the world. And she's like, no, no, no. Wait a minute, Natalie. Here's the deal. Something is feeding those parasites. Something is feeding them because, and I'm going to have you explain this in a minute, but let me finish. I'll finish this part. Something was feeding it. She said, there's got to be either heavy metals, mold, or something else going on. You said that to me. So can you explain a little bit about why you said that first?
Yeah. Okay. So parasites are not just there for no reason. Our immune system and our body is equipped to remove this when we're exposed. We've been living with parasites for thousands of years. Like this is a normal part of living on Earth. But what's happened is our immune systems are so overwhelmed with all of the toxins that we're exposed to, all of the stressors that we're exposed to, all of the um, foods that are lacking nutrition that we're exposed to, that our immune system is so busy trying to handle all these other things that when a parasite comes in or a bacteria, your immune system can't always solve it on its own. And so this is one of the reasons that we're seeing such a huge increase in the amount of parasite infections, the amount of just toxicity related conditions, syndromes, diagnoses. It's
Mm.
plaguing people. And we could just talk about autoimmunity, for example. Autoimmunity is a sign that something is distressing your immune system and it cannot do what it's designed to do to
Wow.
solve this for you. And so then your immune system goes on the attack on the body, and it's a whole long story. We could go down that tangent, but in terms of parasites, your parasites are there for a purpose. So
Mhm.
your immune system can get so overwhelmed with everything that it can actually do this. Hey, yo, parasite, come over here. I'm just like talking like I'm in your immune system talking to a parasite. Come here. You're totally annoying and you're going to make me tired and you're going to make me bloated and you're going to do all these things. You're going to make my brain foggy. But guess what? You are not as dangerous as this heavy metal, as this radioactive element, as this
Mm.
toxin. So I'm going to let you be over here because you like to live in that environment. You actually like to eat this stuff up. So inside of parasites, you will find all these toxins that they're absorbing, soaking up, They're actually solving a problem for your immune
That's
system.
wild.
I know. So when you had parasites, I knew, oh, we got to go investigating for some other things, but that's down the road. And we could talk about why I didn't
Yeah.
do a toxin test immediately on you. There's a reason why. Everything I do is with purpose and with a reason. And we never want to put the cart before the horse. We
Mhm.
always want to do this in a linear fashion that makes sense. And this is what you love about me is my analyzer,
Mhm.
right? My
Yes.
analytical self. I'm like, no, 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 Natalie, hold on. We got to do this first. I know your like excited promoter self wants to just run out there and do it. I'm
That's
like,
right. I
wait,
want to fix it now.
hold on. There's something we need to do
But
first.
I've
So,
attracted a whole audience of that because that's what they're all messaging now. So this is what happened. So she tells me this, and I have it in the back of my mind. There's something else fueling it, but I didn't really want to believe it. But she's telling me this. So then I coincidentally find out that the house we're living in has black mold. And I'm like, well, I don't feel sick. I don't feel anything. And she's like, well, let's look at that. And at the same time as that, I'm learning. I also learn I have a rupture with my silicone implant, which we know are toxic, by the way. So there's no debate on that. So they're toxic. It's a foreign thing going in your body with chemicals. So at that point, when we had both those things, you said it was time to do this other test. But I want you to explain why, because so many people keep saying, what's a test? How do I get it?
mhm.
Why I couldn't do that test earlier, why we had to
Yeah.
wait for that.
Okay. So toxins like mold toxins, heavy metals, the toxins that are coming out of your beauty products, like your makeup and your deodorant, the toxins that are coming from your cleaning products. So all these toxins, glyphosate, pesticides, herbicides, everything that's coming at us, your body is overwhelmed with it. And your body will actually hide it away deeply into your cells. And your body really loves to use fat cells as a storage
Mm,
container, by the way, for toxins, because it's this kind of place where it can pack it away and you just like close a closet on it. And,
okay.
kind of like you're packing junk in the closet. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what your fat cells are like for toxins. It's just a safe place for your body to kind of put it there. And once your body stores your toxins in a fat cell, they're not going to come out. They're just going to be
Mm,
stuck there. So this is something that all your people who have weight loss resistance or who start to lose weight and feel profoundly ill, it's because toxins are often being
wow.
released or a reason why people can't lose weight. And that's just a side note. And I know you've had a huge change in your weight also. We can talk about that.
But so wait, hold on a second.
But
So just what you just said, that's starting to make sense to me now because we've heard sometimes when people are cleaning up their diet, losing weight, they're like, it must be toxins releasing. I don't think I understood what that meant before, but that's what that means.
yeah, so the
Toxins
toxins,
releasing.
right, are coming out of the fat cells. Now, the reason I said to you, wait, let's not rush into a toxin test is because I know that your body was putting those toxins away in the closet, keeping them
Yeah.
away from your brain, away from your liver, away from your heart, away from your lungs, away from your vital organs. And so what we had to do was we had to coax them out gently
Hmm.
in a very easy way and allow your body to feel safe to start releasing toxins. Now we release them in the urine. Once they start to come out, we will release them. And they won't come out until your body feels safe to do so. So
Okay.
part of what we did was that we opened up your internal drainage pathways during that 4 weeks that you talked about, where we worked
Yeah.
on your gut health. We not only set the stage to remove parasites and bacteria, we also set the stage for your body to safely move toxins so we could see them. If I
Mm,
would have done your toxin test the day we started all of this, we would have seen far fewer. It would have been a false reassurance that, oh, look, my toxin test is fine. I can keep that nail polish on. I don't have to worry
mm,
about my breast implants. I don't have to eat, this glyphosate-free food. I mean, look, I'm fine because
yeah.
your body it's a lie. Your body isn't releasing it, so you won't see it. So we have to actually get your body to the point where it will release toxins in order to see them. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes total sense. So what was interesting is when we saw my toxin report, a couple things stood out, like really stood out. Like first of all, some things that were really, really high was something called HEMA. And what's interesting is HEMA is not only in breast implants, so it's also in gel nail polish, which I had on my hands for I don't even know, like probably 3 decades. So like without any breaks. So when I actually saw that, I understood suddenly because I'm that one that was eating natural, clean food and working out and drinking good water. I'm like, I got this, right? But when you actually understand where those toxins are going and I saw it coming out of my body, that's a different connection.
Totally. And I'm looking at your test right now as we talk. I just pulled it up. So your HEMA was sky high. It was
Mhm.
literally catastrophic. It
Yeah.
would be what we call catastrophic. It was off the chart. We couldn't even really measure it. But what was low because of your lifestyle, your
Mhm.
glyphosate is one of the lowest that I ever see.
Which is wild.
But and I
Yeah.
know this is true because
I eat organic.
we
Yeah.
had provoked your body to release any toxins that were there. We
Mhm.
had slowly provoked in a really gentle way. And if you had high levels of glyphosate, it would have shown. And your glyphosate is very low. And it's very revealing, right? Because
Mhm.
you know, oh, I've been wearing these nails forever. It
Yep.
showed up. And
Yep.
you know you've been eating organic forever and no
Yep.
glyphosate showed up.
That's right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. So this is what's really wild. So I am always, and I still, that's the part has not changed. I'm still an advocate of a method for women releasing weight in midlife. Like you've got to be like, that's why I stand behind my formula with that. And
Yeah.
you have to be eating unprocessed real foods. You have to be hydrating. You have to be moving your body. There's things you have to do first. However, this next level has like rocked my world because here I was not overweight when we started having these conversations. But I was heavier than I am now. And it
Mhm.
was, and I had just like many women do said it's perimenopause. I mean, gosh, I always remember interviewing you having hot flashes the whole freaking time. I was like, and I was making funny videos about hot flashes. And you know what? I just chalked up to hormones and it was hormones because what was going on in my gut though?
Right. And so now how's your hot flashes?
I barely have them.
Right. And
Like once in a blue moon.
did you change your bioidentical hormones or
No,
anything?
they stayed the same. I didn't change my diet. My diet stayed the same.
Mhm.
But what happened was we worked on my gut. Can you talk about that gut connection with hormones for a minute, by the way?
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Yeah. Yeah. So your gut microbiome isn't just the place where your food goes to be digested. A lot of people think of that. Like I take probiotics so that my good bacteria that can digest my food can do its job. But your gut microbiome actually has a lot more purposes. And one of the purposes is actually to help you eliminate used up estrogen. So, spent estrogen. When your body uses it, it's packaged up in the liver and sent down into the intestines to be excreted. And when your gut microbiome is imbalanced, guess what
Mhm.
happens? There is an enzyme in your gut that can unpackage, open up that estrogen that was supposed to be excreted. Think of it being like closed up in a garbage bag and being
Mhm.
sent down. And right before it gets excreted, the dogs come out and dump the garbage can over and rip the bag open. And now you've got it circulating back into your body. So your microbiome is critical for helping you release used up hormones. It's also critical for creating new hormones,
Wow.
fresh hormones, hormones that our body needs for so many different biological functions. Same goes for neurotransmitters. So people who suffer from anxiety,
Mhm.
anger, panic, depression, it could be a dysregulated neurotransmitter like
Wow.
serotonin, dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine. These things are directly related to gut health. In fact, we make most of our serotonin right in our gut. So there is a lot more to gut health than just digesting
Yes.
food.
So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because that is very true. A couple things that I hear, I want to just kind of break the myth on. I hear just take probiotics. That's one thing I hear. The other
Mhm.
thing I hear is your body's job, your liver and your kidneys already detox you. Like, so the rest of it's nonsense. I hear that. I want to speak into
Mhm.
that. And then
Mhm.
also we hear everything is toxic. So what's the point of just avoiding? So could you kind of just share? Cause all these are things I've said to you, by the way,
Oh my gosh, that's
at one
that's a
point.
lot of topics. So what about just probiotics? What about
Yep.
my liver and gallbladder and kidneys should be handling this?
Yep.
And the third thing was
Like everything's toxic. What's the point of
right.
even trying to
Okay.
avoid?
Okay. So let me start with everything's toxic
Okay.
because okay, we're not getting off this planet. We're not getting off this planet at the end of our life without being exposed to a lot of toxins.
Hmm.
That is a true statement. We live in a very fast paced, developed, industrialized, developed country. Anybody listening here is probably in a first world country. And there's going to be toxins coming to our body nonstop. So I would say stop trying to feel like you have to be perfect and win the battle with perfection. But what would it be like if you just slowed that, faucet down a little bit? If you think about the toxins coming in like a faucet being turned
Hmm.
on, like your bathtub faucet being turned on full bore. What if you just slowed that down a little bit so that your body's own detoxification systems could catch up and get rid of some of these toxins. So there's this concept of you want to release toxins faster than you put them in. We're never going to fully shut off the spigot. It's not possible. So what we can do though is we can create a detox pathway where the body can actually release more efficiently and faster. And we can also avoid some toxins. So for example, there's simple things we can do, Natalie. I mean, you're already exploring this. Like what kind of mascara could I use that's less toxic? We're not saying don't wear mascara. We're saying find one that's less toxic. What kind of makeup can I use? What kind of nail polish can I use? You know, what kind of lipstick? This is a big one because we're eating our lipstick. So, so you want to get the least toxic lipstick that you possibly can. You want to, you know, get a deodorant that's not full of aluminum. You want to brush your teeth with something that's not toxic. So it is worth it. The little tiny moves that you make. And I mean, Natalie, I have my non-negotiables.
Yeah, like we talked about hair color.
I color my hair every 2 weeks. I'd be solidly gray, and I don't want to be solidly gray. I mean, I'm in my 50s, and I want my hair to look the way it looks today. On
Me
this,
too. We're not going down easy on that one, by the way.
No, we're not going down easy. Now, what do I do? My hairstylist knows this is important to me. She also knows it's very hard to cover gray. So we use a hair color that's less toxic. It's not perfect, but it's better than. And I'm okay with that because guess what? I also know how to detox my body. I also know how to get these toxins out and how to open my drainage pathways. Okay, so the other questions you asked, like what about just probiotics? Is that all I need? Well, a probiotic is great, but it's not the only thing that's going to help solve this. It's not going to patch up a leaky gut. It's not going to provide the fuel that your good bacteria need to thrive. So there's some other things that we need to really think about. So besides probiotics, there's something called prebiotics and there's something called postbiotics. And we really need to think about, is your body getting enough of those things? So prebiotic food is undigestible fiber. So like green bananas, for example, are a prebiotic food, but nobody likes to eat green bananas because they taste funny. So I freeze them and put them in a smoothie if I'm going to use that. If you cook a potato and you chill it in the fridge and then put it cold on a salad, like a niçoise salad, for example, that is a prebiotic fiber. It now is less digestible by the body and it becomes this prebiotic food for your bacteria. Your bacteria actually make something called butyrate out of that. Butyrate is like fuel for the intestinal cells and for the bacteria. So there's a lot more to clearing out the gut. I mean, I could go on and on. We need to get your mitochondria energy production up so that everything works efficiently. We need to knock out some of those parasites and bacteria so that your immune system can get a foothold. And when you think of it, your immune system's been knocked flat. We need to help it up. We need to help it get a foothold so it can climb back up and support you. Then we got to do a little bit of microbe clearing and support that. And the third question you asked, so we asked about, what about the toxins? What about prebiotic? What was the other one?
Your body, your liver, your organs, like why aren't they doing their job? The kidney, like can they just, aren't they there for that?
Right. Okay. So they are, but they were never designed to be exposed to hundreds of thousands of toxins throughout our lifetime. Your liver was not made to have eyelash glue every day. Your liver was not made to have breast implants toxins and to have nail polish toxins. That makes sense. Your liver was not made to deal with glyphosate and pesticides. Your liver was not made to deal with the volatile organic compounds that are off-gassing from the paint on these walls, the carpet on my floor, and the furniture in this room.
So we're overloading them.
We're overloading. So it's not that you're, here's the deal. Your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder, all your organs of detoxification, including your lungs, including your skin, your body can handle this if you give it just a little bit of support. And that's exactly what we do, Natalie. And that's what we did for you, is we just gave you a little bit of a support, a step stool, if you will, so that your body could take over and just get an edge on everything that's pouring in.
So what would happen if I chose to, like, okay, let's start with, if I chose to just do the parasite cleanse and then just stopped at that, like what would happen? Would they just come back?
Well, that's a good question. So, and I always laugh when people say, I got that one parasite. It's gone. I saw it. I'm good. Well, your parasites have friends and your parasites are in different life cycle stages. So there's parasite eggs, there's parasite larvae, there's adult parasites. And there's parasites stuck behind biofilms,
Mm.
and there's parasites not just in your gut. Parasites live beyond your gut. They live in your lungs. They live in your
Mine was in my
bloodstream.
pancreas. We knew that from like the whole blood sugar. There's a lot there. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And we know that parasites will move in and out through the gut wall at will. And so killing parasites is not a one and done. It's not a quick process. You can get a tremendous amount of relief from one, protocol.
Yeah.
And if that's all you ever did, you're doing better than you were if you hadn't
Sure.
done that. But I would venture to guess that most people, once they experience that, they want more. They
Yeah.
they realize, oh, I feel better and I don't want to lose ground. I never want to go back to where I was.
Yeah.
Show me how to keep this up. So people like me who, do this, with our audience, we bring people through parasite cleanses and gut restoring and toxin removal. I do a parasite cleanse quarterly. I just
Yeah.
do it because I know. I mean, you asked me the other day, you texted me, Laura, do you ever eat sushi? Like like a 5-star restaurant,
Yeah.
can I eat sushi? Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you the truth. I still eat sushi. If I'm going to a Michelin star restaurant and
Yeah.
they're serving sushi, I'm having it.
Yeah.
But if it's, seven
At the
o'clock at
strip
night,
mall, at the
yeah, and if
other,
it's
yeah.
7 o'clock at night and we're like, oh, we don't have a dinner plan, let's go get takeout sushi. That's not happening
No,
in my life. No.
no. So, okay. So when, because this is what keeps coming up now for me, and this is why I wanted to do this episode. I get a lot of DMs and I get the question. These are the questions that I get. What's the parasite cleanse?
Mhm, mhm.
One. So if you could explain, like, let's start with that. Why can't I just tell them like the parasite cleanse? Because I think I know, but can you explain?
Because there's some prep work that gets to happen first. We want you to be successful with a parasite cleanse, and we don't want you to have what we call a Herxheimer reaction. So a Herxheimer was named after Dr. Herxheimer, who discovered that when you go and just start killing parasites or killing bacteria without preparing
Mhm.
the body to do so, it can cause this die-off reaction that makes you feel terrible. So
Yeah.
it kind of feels like you came down with the flu, but worse. So you kind of get hit with a bus where every muscle, every fiber of your body
Wow.
aches. You lose your energy, your brain is foggy, you might be nauseous, you might have diarrhea, and you will curse the person who gave you this protocol. Like, why did you do this to me? So we want to do some prep work to strengthen your immune system, open up those drainage pathways, give your body some support so that when we go killing things,
Yeah.
it doesn't cause that. And I will tell you, I have done that to people before. Back in the beginning, when I very first started practicing functional medicine over Western medicine, I did that to a few people. And do you know what? They never returned my call, Natalie. I
Yeah.
can still remember there is this one particular client who I gave her the most beautiful protocol, and it caused this in her. And she would not return my phone calls. She was
Wow.
like,
She's
I
so
am done
mad.
with you. I'm going on to the next
Yeah.
practitioner.
So, and then the other question I keep getting is, so then I get the question, like they want me to solve their medical problem, which I'm not a doctor clearly, and I can't do that. They think the answer is like, oh, I just should take my implants out, or I should just do the toxin test, like tell me where to get it, or I'll just go in the sauna like you're going. So if you could kind of help address like all of those things, I'm doing these things and sharing them because I share my life, but there's a proper order.
There's the right order. So I'm betting that most of your audience doesn't want to waste money, time, resources, and they want results. So if that's you, and I bet that's you want to do things in the order in which they make sense so you get the biggest bang for your buck, the biggest bang for your time, the biggest bang for your effort. So there is a proper way to do this. Now you will find people out there online, and oh, it makes me crazy. You will
Yeah.
find people who are like, buy my parasite protocol, buy my toxin test and my 2-week detox. It's all BS. It's all BS. You lived into this, you have to live out of it. And there is a
Wow.
correct way to do this. And Natalie, let me give you an analogy. If you were to build a home, you wouldn't just start by putting the walls and sheetrock up without a solid foundation. You have to put rebar and cement down and then build the walls on top of that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the first earthquake that happens,
It's gonna
your
collapse.
your house is going to collapse. Your body is the same way. You must create a solid foundation in order to do all these other things. And this is the biggest problem with, all all of the people who state I'm a natural health expert, or
Yeah.
I'm a health coach, or a practitioner or a doctor who's going to sell you a parasite cleanse. Beware of that, and beware of somebody who's going to sell you a toxin test without first helping you create toxin release. Because if you do a toxin test without coaxing those toxins out, because remember, they're packed in fat cells, even if you're not overweight, they still get packed in fat cells. They still get hidden away in the body. And so if you're going to do a toxin test, make sure your practitioner has a way to gently provoke those toxins out of you before you do that test. Otherwise, it's a
Yeah.
waste of your money.
No, and I hope people really hear this, because that's why I was hesitant when I was sharing about this, because then people just go run and say, I just need this test. And
Yes.
it's not as simple
Oh,
as
and
that.
we've had a lot of people reach out to us on DM on social media because they know that I ordered your
Mhm.
toxin test, and they're like, I want that toxin test. It's like, I want to help you with that, and I also don't want to waste your time or money. So let's
Yeah.
talk about what you need to do first before we buy a toxin test and start doing that, because we want to make sure we actually see your toxins.
So, Laura, do you think that I'm starting to think this? So, I don't know if this is just like a jump to conclusion or if this is real. I'm starting to think like the majority of diseases are literally because of gut problems.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we start. And I would agree with you. You may have heard that your gut is your second brain. Your
Mhm.
gut is an important organ in your body. And if your gut, which is important so let's talk about that. I already talked a little bit about how it helps with hormones
Mhm.
and neurotransmitters and digestion. Think of it also like Grand Central Station for communication. So your brain sends signals all over your body. Like my brain is sending a signal right now to my finger to wiggle it, right?
Yeah.
Well, all of that hinges, believe it or not, on the nervous system that's also being regulated by the gut and by what we call mitochondria, which are little cellular organisms. They live inside of our cells, and they are part of that communication network. So between your gut, your mitochondria in the cells, and your brain, everything in your body works, including wiggling my finger. We know through research, and this is solid neurological neuromedicine research, that when somebody has a stroke, they immediately have a shift in the microbiome within
Wow.
seconds. It's actually
Wow.
been measured in studies. This is well known in the Western medicine world, and vice versa. When something bad happens in the gut, we get an immediate response in the brain. It's called neuroinflammation.
Mm.
So the gut and the brain communicate constantly via the vagus nerve. It's this nerve that runs from
Mhm.
the length of your body. And your audience may have also heard it as the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis.
Okay.
So yes, you're right. All health begins in your gut. So let's just say you feel like you have dysregulated hormones, or you feel like you have a dysregulated thyroid, or you feel like you have,
Mhm.
something else going on. If all you do is go to a hormone doctor and say, give me hormones, or go to a
Yeah.
thyroid doctor and say, give me thyroid, without also addressing what's happening in the gut, you're going to be on a hamster wheel of trying to figure this out forever. We can shorten the
Yes.
time it takes you to solve this if we just go to gut health, which is why when people call me and they say, I want a toxin test, I say, when was your last gut test?
Yeah. Yeah, this is why this has changed my whole thinking about just even like every doctor that I'm working with, but then also who I put in my programs now. I'm making sure they get this, because
Mhm.
I don't want to confuse people now. Like I'm fully seeing this. And so like when I choose to bring a hormone doctor in, I want to make sure they understand this gut importance, or thyroid, same thing.
Yes, and I know the other professors that you're bringing into your
Mhm.
programs. I know who they are. They're friends of mine, and I know that your thyroid specialist wants you to get your guts
Yeah, she gets
solved.
it. And so does
Your
my hormone.
hormone
Yeah.
specialist wants you to solve your gut problems. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
they all go
important.
together.
It's
Yeah.
important. And I'm thinking, and then the same thing, like I would say gut is important. I would say like what I even do is kind of like that level one, because if you're not even eating well and move, like that's a bigger problem too. So I'm like, they have to be doing that. That's just like basic. Cause that also drives me nuts if someone is eating like a heavy processed food diet and they're not moving their body, and then they want to go jump into these other things. Cause they
I
got to
want to
clean
say
that up too.
something. I want to say something right now, Natalie, and this is really important for your audience to hear. If you're going to come and work with somebody like me, you must already be doing the things that Natalie teaches. So your first line of defense against everything is exactly what Natalie teaches about eating, about moving your body, and about your mindset. And
Mhm.
so if you are not doing all three of these things initially, your work with me is going to just
It's like
take longer.
wasted. Yeah. And it's
Yes, it's
wasted
going
because
to take
you're
longer.
taking it,
Yeah, so
dragging it
so
out.
definitely, if you're struggling with weight loss, the first thing you want to do is what Natalie teaches. And if it still doesn't work, then you want to come to me.
Yeah. When you look at things like, and this might be really advanced, but I want to ask a few of these things because I definitely have some listeners that have asked me these random things too, like fecal transplants. Is that a shortcut to fixing your gut? Is that something that what do you think? Are you going to start doing that? Like
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
and can
so
you tell them what that is for people that don't
yeah,
know?
yeah. So I mean, it's so funny because
I
this
got
is
an advertisement on Instagram, by the way. It was like, send your poop in the mail and get paid. I
yeah,
was like,
it's
what?
if I sold my poop, I could be a billionaire already,
Yes,
right?
you could.
So yes, a fecal transplantation is a real thing. If you put someone's healthy gut microbiome into somebody's unhealthy gut microbiome via a fecal stool poop transplant, we know
I can't believe it's come to this in
I know
medicine,
we
but
can
okay.
solve some health problems, right? This is such a Western medicine solution, though. It's like
Yeah.
a freaking band-aid. You're still, so what got you in trouble in the first
It's
place,
still
you're
there.
not getting
Yeah.
under it and fixing that. So it's like, come on, people. Of course, Western medicine figured out fecal
Yeah.
transplants. They're the shortcut hackers of all time. You got to
But
look
it's
at the
temporary. It's not because the problem's going to come right back.
so whatever caused you to get in trouble in the first place is going to happen again,
Okay.
unless you solve the
Yeah.
underlying root causes of why you got there in the first place.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay. Okay. What about the quick, like super detoxes? Like I asked you about like Ebu and like stuff like that. Like I'm all about, and I know you're a fan of that, but
Mhm.
would you suggest, like, why do you not want to jump right into that
Oh my
without doing
goodness.
other stuff?
Okay. Ebu is amazing. Okay, so what we're talking about here is an advanced strategy for resetting, the detox system, for killing microbes, for killing parasites, bacteria. We're talking about ozone treatment here.
Hmm.
Ozone is amazing. You have to do some foundational stuff for ozone, for you not to have like a Herxheimer die-off reaction
Yeah.
from ozone. So you had messaged me the other day and you're like, a friend of ours is a leading doctor in this
Hmm.
and I'm all about it. You're somebody who could do it because
Hmm.
you've done so much foundational work with me already.
Okay.
Like, go for it. But you can have a decrease in energy and you can have, some downtime when you
Yeah.
have Ebu. So basically with Ebu, you're taking, your blood out of your body and running it through ozone and putting it back in your body. So you're cleansing the blood.
Yeah.
And it's amazing and it's an advanced strategy. So I would say do some basic foundational work first,
Hmm.
set the foundation, lay that foundation for your house so that when you bring in something that costs you $2,000 per treatment, then
Yeah.
it actually works.
Okay, talk to me about, because I also love a lot of the biohacking stuff, which my friend Tracy just renamed biohacking bioharmonizing. And I'm like, I like that. That's
I
good.
call it bioelevating.
Oh, bioelevating. I like that. I like,
Yes.
because yeah, because we're not like, what are we hacking? It's like
Well,
so
well,
interesting.
Natalie, my business is called BioRadiant Health.
Yes.
It's because
Yes.
it was a play on biohacking because I feel like
Ah,
hacking is cutting shortcuts.
and it's
So
very
we
masculine sounding too. I don't like
yeah,
it.
it
It's
is.
not,
It was started by dudes and it's dominated by dudes.
yes.
Yeah.
So okay, so but things like infrared. So I'm obsessed with my infrared sauna. Like, and I'm going in it every single day now because I do that. I don't do like a half thing. I do things like all in or not at all. So and when I interviewed about the infrared sauna and I was learning about that, I learned that that also helps you massively detox. But like, is it important to do that in conjunction? Can people do
Yeah.
that separate?
It's important in conjunction. So I don't believe that there is one solo thing that is going to solve this for you. So that's really important for people to understand. There's a lot of things we can do to support and bioelevate your body, bioharmonize your body.
Hmm.
Red light therapy and infrared therapy, they're two different things, but they're spectrums of light that is naturally occurring in the sun. And it's, kind of concentrated in either a red light or an infrared sauna. And this, depending on what it is, so infrared is really good at helping us with detoxification, whereas red light therapy is really good at helping us with tissue repair and mitochondrial
Mm,
energy production. So used together is a really powerful. But I will say that if you haven't done some of the foundational work, like we do in the first 4 weeks when we work with people, opening those drainage pathways, bringing your mitochondria energy production online, helping your immune system get that foothold. If you
Yep.
start too quick, you will Herxheimer, back to that Dr.
Wow.
Herxheimer, and realized we cause
Hmm.
people to have a die-off reaction. You can actually create that with infrared and red light. So if you're somebody who is super sensitive and you feel like anytime you take a supplement, you just
Yep.
react, you're not somebody who wants to go in an infrared sauna your first time at 150 degrees for 30 minutes. You
Yeah.
might want to go in there at 100 degrees for 10 minutes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm like that 140 degrees now daily. And I love it. But you're right. I built up to that.
Mhm.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen and the reason I wanted Laura on is I wanted to update this conversation. Plus, all these have been on like voice notes back and forth. And I thought I've got to update all of you around this. But this is what we're going to do. We did this twice before and they were super effective. And people like were messaging both of us so thankful for us helping with that. Or it's not even I'm taking credit, but it's Laura. It's Laura helping. I just
It
brought
was
you
us.
into it.
It was
Um,
us.
but so here's the thing we're going to do we're going to do a class. It's a free class, by the way. And I want you to mark your calendars to do this class because we're doing this next one on February 12th. We're doing it on February 12th at 4 Pacific time, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 East Coast time. And I want you to jump on and do this. And the reason is she's going to go deeper, like really teach. I'll shut up. I will shut up. She's going to teach. I might help edify or ask some quick clarifying questions, but she's going to teach really deep about gut and parasites and the importance of understanding this. And by the way, y'all, 40 to 50% of people have parasites. So don't be thinking you're one that does not. I didn't realize that, but it's a huge number. But if you go to midlifeconversations.com/gut, so midlifeconversations/gut, this is free. You just save your spot. Just save your spot. And if you're like, but what if I can't do that time? Figure out a way to make the time because seriously, this is a life-changing workshop. This is incredible. So figure it out. You got some notice here. Just figure it out. Get on the class. And I'm going to link it all up below. But this is the third time we've done this class. It's every time we do it, we get filled with this.
We do. And so definitely show up early, like get your spot because we'll max out.
Yes. And if you're like, I don't want to watch the class, well, I think you still should. But if you're like, I don't want to, but I just want to work with Laura, they can just message your team to go direct to you, can't they? Too.
Yeah, they can.
To
They
work
can.
with to find out what that looks like. But I would highly suggest you go to the class. And the
Yeah.
reason is you want to understand, like I really dove into this and Laura is so good at teaching and explaining. I want you to understand because it better equips you all in your life to start knowing about this and also better questions for when you go to your doctor. Like, you know exactly what to ask for.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. This is really important. And, I like to teach with a lot of imagery as well. So I'll be
Mhm.
showing you, we'll
She
look at,
shows us parasites too, just warning. Yeah,
but
she
I'll
does.
tell you when to look away if you don't want
Yeah.
to see
She doesn't
them.
show you my parasites because I did not take pictures because I'm
No,
not
but I
like
have
that.
Brooks. I have
Yeah,
Brooks's
my husband took
parasite.
pictures. My husband had parasites. She told me that though. She said if you have them, like your spouse probably does, your kid probably does, your dog probably does. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
It's a whole thing.
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair.
But we'll teach about that. So one of the things that I really like to teach in this class is how we get them and where they come from and
Mhm.
why. And so we're going to get underneath it, but we'll do it in a fun, light way. We usually laugh quite a bit. I mean, it's a
Yes, we
fun
do.
time. It's a great way to spend your evening, I'll just
It
say.
is. You will learn so much. I learn something every time I do this class with you. I wish we could do it
It's
every
fun.
week, but we can't because she's busy. So, but she's working a class in for us. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I'm sure you're going to be back on the podcast because this keeps evolving.
I mean,
What else?
we have to update this. We're
Yes.
working through your detox protocols now. And the reason we're able to do that is because we set you up to win, because we did
Yes.
the gut work, because we opened the drainage pathways, because we got out those parasites. Now we can move those toxins out. And I'm super excited. And we didn't even talk about the black mold that we found on your test.
Oh yeah, wait, let's talk about that real quick. So yes, because that's right. So it's funny because we were living in this house in San Diego and Brooks was super sick with it. I was not. We could smell the mold. We found the mold. We knew we had a test come out and check the black mold. I wasn't feeling anything, but Laura's like, I'll bet it shows up in your body. She was right.
And now we're working it out because
Yes.
your body can't release it on its own. It
Yeah,
needs.
in fact, I didn't realize that too. You guys, if you live in black mold or you live near it, you cannot just let it stay in your body. If you leave it in your body, it causes all kinds of diseases.
All kinds of problems. I mean, that's a whole nother talk for another day. But yeah, we are solving this. And
Yeah.
I mean, talk a little bit about your results. I mean, we started solving all this for you and you've had some pretty extraordinary
It's a whole combination, but I will fully give Laura credit for starting this whole thing because literally I was just this is perimenopause. In fact, I stopped selling all my fat loss programs because I was like, I got to figure this out. And then so Laura got this started. This has gone down a whole bunch of rabbit holes leading to explant, moving out of the mold house, all the things. But you guys, I am down from a year and a half ago. I am almost like I'm like 18 pounds lighter. 18, I'm back to the weight I was like that I always was. My method works again. Everything I've went right back, fell into place. My inflammation's gone. My back does not hurt at all. And I have no disc in my lower back. So that should hurt. No joint pain, no skin issues, no bags under my eyes. Very rarely getting the hot flashes now. It's amazing. But I am on top of this because I don't want to go back to any of that. So I'm very aware that like I got rid of that, but I will be doing another parasite cleanse. I will be staying on top of this because I don't want to ever feel like that again.
Yeah, your results have been extraordinary. And I can't believe there was 18 pounds of inflammation.
18 pounds that some of it was released after that parasite cleanse and the rest right after the explant. Like the explant was feeding a lot of that.
Yeah. And I mean, your body, like your muscles are showing through again. Like you have your
It's how it's crazy because that's how I was. And I was like, y'all, if you all are listening, you're like, I just don't recognize myself anymore. It's be a detective. One of the things I teach in Thrive now is to be a detective because you cannot just accept the first answer. You have to be a detective and get to the root of the root. Like I would not accept that it was my blood sugar and that I had diabetes. I was like, there's no way. I can't. I don't.
And you know what we do is we normalize like this is what 50 is. This is what the new this is aging and this is my new normal. I'm sure there was a point when you were like, I'm never gonna get that body back that was on the cover of a fitness magazine. But you got it back.
Well, I won't because I don't have the fake boobs anymore. But
well,
but I got the other thing.
Abs, girl.
That's okay. I am
abs.
flat as a board and I am embracing it. I am healthy. I'm strong, and I'm a parasite killer.
That's not where my mind was going to.
Yeah, I'm a parasite killer now though, and I'm on top of it.
You are.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. So we hope to see you all on the class. Make sure you save your spot. This is free, midlifeconversations.com/gut. I'll put it in the show notes too. I'll also have it on my Instagram, I'm sure. We'll probably make some funny videos again because that's what we do about Parasite. I'll be in San Diego. We'll make some funny Parasites. So just come watch our funny videos and then show up on our class and you can learn a lot deeper and you'll know exactly what you need to look for, the symptoms, tests for all the things. Thank you, Laura.